Yo, what's the deal, fam? Came across an interesting video of Alchemist speaking about the production of a song called My Will, a song he produced by Nas. Let's check it out.
In this chapter, we're going to do another track review for a beat that I did for Nas. The name of the beat is called My Will. For this one, I had to bust out the old school ASR 10.
Yes,
It
sir.
took a little jump starting to get it going, but we got him rocking and rolling, and let's see what it sounds like coming out of the old machine.
All right. Before we go any further, in the chat, let me know what is your favorite beat that Alchemist ever produced using the ASR 10. Now he uses the MPC, but ASR 10, what is your favorite Alchemist beat produced on that particular drum machine?
So what I have here is the bare minimum. Good thing about the ASR 10, it was only 8 tracks. So that's all you had to work with. In this particular beat, I only had 4 tracks out of the 8 that I used.
We speak about this often on this channel. Not so much that less is more, but it kind of pushes your creativity. You notice he said he had 8 tracks maximum to use, and he only used 4 of them. And when you hear the finished product of this beat, just lets you know how creative he truly is as a producer.
So what I was saying before is when I used to use the ASR, I was imitating the MPC style. So you'll see here, like, well, first of all, let me just play the beat. This is how it went. This was the intro. And I used to do this by hand too. I would just fade up the beat like this and go.
Yo, listen to the bounce on those drums. Listen to the bounce on those drums. If you notice, he's playing that on keys. The ASR 10 isn't necessarily a drum machine with pads. He's actually using the keys to program everything. And to get that type of bounce, the feel, it's different. Alchemist, man, at this time, drums were heavy.
Two different sequences I'm going back and forth with.
Also, another lost art in production. Not lost art, but very few people utilize it or people who have moved away from it. Is layering. Listen to that snare drum, but there's a nice full clap underneath it. Gives it body.
So what I did was, in these days I would start with the sample. This was the sample. And I would cut it into quarter notes. So every key had its own note. Every note, 16 of them.
Also, producers know this. For that to work the way he chopped it, your start and end point has to be not perfect, but it has to be somewhat perfect, for lack of a better term. It's hard to put it into words because he's working within a loop. So he has a start point and an end point, and now those 16 parts come from the sample piece that he selects. So it has to be some thought behind it, if you know what I'm saying. So there's a start point and end point. He takes that piece and now he breaks that up into 16 parts.
Back. And that would enable me to speed or slow down the beat within, or give or take 1 or 2 BPMs, and give it a different swing. Because now that you have them chopped in at 16s, you can move it. You have a little bit of freedom with your sequence. Yeah. So that was like one of the early tricks. And again, this is really equivalent of chopping 16 pads. Here, they're not cutting off each other. They can play at the same time. But I used to just press record and program it like you could hear it. Sometimes it's not perfect. So then I would start with that, and then I would bring in the drums and bass.
Also, what makes that possible is something called polyphony. Polyphony and it's the amount of sounds playing simultaneously. So if you notice, if you're listening to the chops, Without the drums, you can hear the start points like a little fade in because each sound is being shut off by the sound that's coming on. So when A, you hit A, and then once you press B, A is shut off. Polyphony.
These were drum sounds from the Triton, I believe.
Do your research on the chord Triton. It was a keyboard, silver. It had the Triton and the Trinity. You'll be surprised how many producers went in and sampled those sounds and put them on the MPC 2000 XL or ASR 10 or the 3000. Utilize those sounds. A lot of hit records were done using Korg, Triton, and Trinity drums.
The kick. And for the snare, I used a clap and a snare. So I had this and this clap.
Layering, layering. Bottom, boomy.
So that was basically
clarity.
I had the bass rocking with it.
Alchemist don't get enough credit for its bass lines either. It wasn't busy, but it was effective.
Just basically accentuating what was already in the loop.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm listening to the loop and I can kind of hear the bass. And I just did the good old bass sound. Basically. But I was making the notes kind of short to give it that bounce. And that's basically it. It was, again, a simple beat. It was really what Nas was gonna do to the record.
Yeah.
I feel like I gave him just enough for he could write. It was a one-verse joint, and yeah, this is one of those old ASR.
Fire. And as you all know, Nas bodied that joint too, man. Go check it out. My Will. Nas, produced by The Alchemist. The Alchemist has been active for a very long time through many different periods. The sound that people are accustomed to now within like the last 8 to 10 years is totally different from what he was doing when he was collaborating with Queens MCs Heavy. A bunch of different MCs, but when he was with the Mob, with Nas and quite a few others, like he had a different sound, as you can see or hear, peeping him break down the production on the My Will joint. Once again, let me know, what is your favorite Alchemist produced track using the ASR 10? And some people may say, yo, well, I don't know. You know, just listen to the track and allow this to be the barometer, or A and B, and you can tell exactly which drum machine was being utilized during the course of his career. ASR 10 or the MPC, I think 2500. Well, got to get up out of here. It's your man Eeze, the Eeze Experience. If you liked this video or enjoyed it, hit the like button, share it with someone, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you all out there. And as always, go get yours. Yeah.
Hey, yo, Eeze.